Tonight, an arrest made in a tragic hit and run that left 2 people dead just minutes into the new year. A Bexar County judge wants to address domestic violence cases in a new way. But first, she has to find the money. And Julian Castro suspending his presidential candidacy. Thanks for joining us for KSAT News at 9, streaming from right here in the KSAT 12 newsroom. I'm Myra Arthur. It will be a first of its kind in the state of Texas, creating a domestic violence drug court in Bexar County. A local judge has been pushing for it since last year. First-time offenders with drugs or alcohol mentioned in their arrest could be recommended into the court-supervised drug treatment program. It would be structured a lot like other specialty drug courts already in place. We first told you about the proposed program last summer. The problem, it still needs funding to move forward in full force. Tiffany Huertas with a new proposal in the hopes of getting this program up and running.
Over 10,000 domestic violence cases were on Judge Rosie Speedling Gonzalez's docket alone last year. That's why she's hoping the domestic violence drug court program will move forward.
All of these specialty courts in the county and across the state and across the country have to every year go looking for monies to keep the courts up and running.
Initially, she aimed for $1 million for the 2-year pilot program. But she says after meeting with several people in the community and shaving down the proposal, she is now aiming for a total of $300,000. Speedling Gonzalez says the cut in funds will only limit the number of participants in the program.
Our biggest obstacle has been finding funding for violent offenders. Because in our court, everyone that comes to the door is categorized as a violent offender because it's a domestic violence court. And so the monies for violent offenders are very limited.
The drug court would offer a new avenue to deal with some of these cases.
You can either go the traditional way, which could include time. The mandatory sanction here would be 1 year at the Bexar County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Or if you want to work with us, we can work on getting you released. Let's get you into treatment. Let's get you with your trauma therapist. Let's get you set up for services.
Speedling Gonzalez says most of the defendants in domestic violence cases were under the influence of drugs or alcohol. That's why she believes this program would be beneficial.
If we look at the individual and we look at their individual history, we're going to find that many of the people that are coming through this court are themselves have been victims at some point in their lives. They've been traumatized. The substance came into their life, the substance abuse, as a way of coping and self-medicating.
The $300,000 would pay for several things, including drug treatment, law enforcement, probation, and trauma-informed counseling. She wants to start the program with 10 participants. Judge Speedling Gonzalez says she is also looking for defendants with children.
One of those ways that we can look at it is, how can we help the parent of this child or the spouse of the abused change their behavior so it doesn't continue to bleed over, to victimize the victim over and over again, and to reinforce the cycle of abuse in children.
She says they will be looking at grant applications once they open in April. So far, Bexar County has provided $100,000. Speedling Gonzalez says even if they don't reach their $300,000 goal, the court will start the program just with fewer participants. Now, a tentative court launch is scheduled for late February to early March. Myra?
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Let's turn now to the race for President. Julian Castro ending his 2020 campaign. The former San Antonio mayor and Housing and Urban Development Secretary did not gain enough support in the polls or raise enough money to qualify for the 2 most recent debates. Castro made the announcement on Twitter. The tweet said in part, quote, "I'm so proud of everything we've accomplished together. I'm going to keep fighting for an America where everyone counts," end quote. A local political strategist who ran Castro's mayoral campaign says he was disappointed with the process, but he doesn't think Castro dropping out should discourage potential future Latino candidates.
When he couldn't make the debate stage, I think everybody kind of knew the end was near. I think it will happen sooner than later. I think that it would be a mistake not to include a Latino on the ticket today.
With Castro out of the running, there are now no Texans in the race. So let's take a look at who is left. 14 candidates in the contest for the Democratic presidential nomination. On stage for the next debate, scheduled for January 14th, former Vice President Joe Biden, Senators Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar, and former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg. A man under arrest for a New Year's Day hit and run that killed 2 people, including a child. Those wildfires in Australia are still burning, consuming thousands of homes. And 2 random shootings playing out along a Florida highway. Here's tonight's 9 at 9.
Less than 48 hours after 2 people were killed in a hit-and-run crash, San Antonio police have now arrested an 18-year-old suspect.
Police say this quick arrest was thanks to the overwhelming number of tips.
Cesar Gonzalez is now charged with 2 counts of failure to stop and render aid. More charges are possible.
Police tell us Cesar Gonzalez was believed to have been leaving a party just after midnight on New Year's morning when he slammed his truck into a van that was backing up.
That crash left 2 people dead, including a 14-year-old girl. A 1-year-old and 5-year-old were also hurt. Severe flooding in Indonesia has left portions of the capital underwater and killed at least 30 people. Tens of thousands more have been forced to evacuate their homes. Among the dead, 17 were swept away by the waters, 5 were buried by landslides, and 5 were electrocuted. Wildfires in Australia could get even worse.
A week-long state of emergency has been declared here in New South Wales, Australia. Authorities believe conditions are just going to worsen into the weekend.
Hotter temperatures and high winds are expected in the region over the next several days. There are more than 200 fires burning in 2 of Australia's most populated states. These fires have caused the deaths of at least 18 people and destroyed well over 12,000 homes. San Antonio police say a family dispute led to a shooting on the northwest side. 2 people were hurt.
According to police, what happened here started with just angry words, but then things escalated into a shoving and a shooting.
A man was shot in the shoulder and a woman suffered a cut to her leg. 1 person was arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A terrifying situation for drivers in Florida. At least 15 cars damaged in seemingly random shootings along 2 different highways.
Police say this is still an active investigation. No injuries were reported in any of these incidents.
A home on Lake Michigan destroyed after it crashed off the top of a bluff on New Year's Eve. Aggressive erosion along the lake caused the collapse. Luckily, no one was home on New Year's Eve and no one was hurt. In California, rescue crews pull a man from a 40-foot deep trench at a construction site. The man did not suffer any serious injuries. A historic day for San Antonio Pets Alive, the organization celebrating its 50,000th rescue.
It's a great way to start off the new year, and we're so thankful for all of the support of our donors and the people in the community of San Antonio who come alongside of our mission and support for us and fight for each and every life of each dog and cat that comes into our care.
The goal of the nonprofit is to save as many animals as it can from euthanasia. A North Carolina family preparing a pizza ends up baking a snake. They say their oven started smoking after they began cooking dinner. When they went to check it out, they found the snake burnt to a crisp. The family doesn't know how the snake got in there, but they ended up thoroughly cleaning the oven and going out to eat instead.
I cannot help but think what burnt snake smells like. That's got to linger. That's all I can think.
If people say snake tastes like chicken, does it smell like chicken? Probably not.
I think after you find it as a surprise in your oven, you don't want to know. You're done with it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not great.
Okay. So, no bad discoveries like that we know of around here.
No.
We're hoping for some sunshine around here, though.
Yeah, what a great start to the new year. Definitely cool out there. We were hoping we would get a little bit more rain out of this setup that we've had to kick off 2020. It just has not added up to a lot here in the Alamo City. A trace of rain yesterday to kick off the new year, and today also just a trace of rain measured at the airport, aka not much, not enough to help put a dent in our drought situation. A lot of clouds today. As I kind of run this time lapse through, you'll see that toward the end of the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, here's 5 p.m. we did start to see the cloud cover move off to the east a bit more. Things did start to clear out just a little bit. We won't have totally clear skies in place until we get to tomorrow evening and then into the start of the weekend. A few lingering clouds will be around as we head into the night tonight and the day on Friday. 48-hour estimated rainfall, radar estimated rainfall There's nothing to see here. You've got to go well off to the southeast to see where some of this really light rain has fallen over the past couple of days, and radar has been estimating maybe around a quarter to around a half-inch of rain for some of our far southeastern counties from Beeville up to Goliad here in town. Again, just not much at all. So the rain is moving out off to the east, and we'll have some lingering clouds around tomorrow, but no chance of rain through the weekend. So kind of the bright side of rain chances coming to an end and things being dry through the weekend is that it will be a good time to get the car wash. Satellite and radar right now, we've still got some lingering clouds out there. A lot of the thicker cloud cover, though, is off to the east of I-35 between San Antonio and Houston. But as you look off to the west, there is some cloud cover that is continuing to move in from the southwest tonight. So skies not completely clear, but definitely more clear than they were through much of the day today. And I'll take you futurecast through the night tonight. The rain that's off near Houston will continue to move off to the east. I am going to leave in just about a 20% chance of an isolated shower overnight tonight. So this is 3 a.m. Friday morning. Some very light isolated showers will be possible moving across portions of South Texas. Most of us will miss out on any rain through tomorrow morning. Rain chances are out of the forecast, and we're looking at partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies through Friday afternoon, clearing out completely Friday night and by early Saturday morning. Another thing tomorrow that we'll have in the forecast, breezy conditions here. We've got a cool front that will be moving through late tonight, early tomorrow. So a north-northwest wind between about 10 and 20 miles per hour, especially from late morning, early afternoon, all the way through the evening hours. So breezy conditions on Friday, and unfortunately that could kind of pick up some of the mountain cedar, and maybe we could have some mountain cedar issues Friday into the start of the weekend on Saturday. Otherwise, next few days are looking really nice. Look at the weekend. I mean, picture perfect. Great time to be outside this weekend. Early next week, we bring back in a few more clouds on Monday, but otherwise, weather staying pretty quiet through the short term. Myra, I do have a 20% chance of rain there at the end of the planning forecast, but we definitely need more rain than that, so hopefully we'll have a weather pattern change here pretty soon.
We can't complain about these weekends.
I know.
Our streak continues.
Yeah, we just kind of
spot on weather weekends.
Yes.
Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
As a new decade begins, City Hall reporter Garrett Berger has been talking with local leaders about their New Year's resolutions. Right now on our website, you can learn more about Mayor Ron Nierenberg and District 1 City Councilman Roberto Trevino's goals for 2020. On the mayor's list, making sure San Antonio gets its fair share of federal money and representation in Congress. Meanwhile, Trevino wants to fight housing insecurity. You can watch both of these stories right now on KSAT.com. You're watching KSAT News at 9. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Several high-profile criminal cases are set to be tried here in Bexar County over the next several weeks. Within the first 60 days of 2020, the case of so-called killer nurse Janine Jones goes to trial. She already served a life sentence for the death of a baby in the 80s and is now set to stand trial in the deaths of 5 other children. Then there's the trial of Anton Harris set for this month. He's accused of raping multiple victims in the medical center area. Also happening this month, jury selection for accused cop killer Otis McCain. McCain is facing capital murder charges in the death of SAPD detective Benjamin Marconi. This lineup could mean some scheduling problems at the courthouse.
Typically with high-profile cases, there's very few prosecutors that handle these cases. There's also very few defense attorneys that handle these cases.
Obviously a challenge that we have in our office is we have to work within budget constraints. In a perfect world, I wish I had more prosecutors, I wish I had more investigators, but we have to work with what we have.
You can read more about the cases ahead of the trials right now on our website at KSAT.com. Turning to tonight's top stories, a Texas judge rules in favor of allowing a Fort Worth hospital to remove an infant from life support. This move is against the 11-month-old's family's wishes. Tinsley Lewis was born with a heart defect and suffers from lung disease. She's been hooked up to breathing and feeding tubes her entire life and has undergone 3 open heart surgeries. A judge has now sided with the hospital, which argued Tinsley's condition is terminal and that she is in pain because of her treatment. Tinsley's family says the girl's fate should be up to them, and they plan to appeal the judge's decision. The hospital will not take any action for at least 7 days. Another arrest for the man known as the affluenza teen, Ethan Couch, was booked today for allegedly violating his probation. Court records show Couch tested positive for THC on a drug patch. Couch made headlines when he avoided jail time for a 2013 crash that killed 4 people. He was drunk at the time. During his trial, a psychologist testified that Couch suffered from affluenza, which meant his wealthy parents didn't set limits or help him understand consequences. 39 senators and 168 House members are urging the U.S. Supreme Court to reconsider or perhaps overturn Roe versus Wade. The landmark Supreme Court decision legalized abortion in 1973. This comes as the court considers a Louisiana abortion access law. That law requires a doctor to have admitting privileges at a hospital within 30 miles of the facility where the abortion is performed. According to critics, there is no medical justification for that law. The name Samuel Maverick is synonymous with San Antonio. The Maverick family has been a part of the city's history since the Texas Revolution. Part of that history includes the old Lockwood Bank building on Broadway. In this week's Throwback Thursday, RJ Marquez tells us about the history of that building and its future. It's now the home of Maverick Whiskey and operated by Maverick's great-great-great-grandson.
A true Texas original, the Maverick family history runs deep in the heart of San Antonio. Samuel Maverick and his wife Marianne were pioneers. Samuel served as the city's mayor in 1839, and the pair were also prominent landowners. In 1918, part of the Mavericks' property was used as a site to build the Lockwood National Bank on Broadway.
It was the first really big bank west of the Mississippi, and San Antonio was one of the largest cities back then.
Lockwood was also billed as the first burglar-proof bank because of the giant vault in the basement.
The newspaper article advertised that every teller had a 6-shooter in the drawer and the bank manager had a shotgun, and so the bank was never robbed.
The bank went through a series of changes in ownership. It became an Army recruiting station at one point and a medical arts building. 2 years ago, the building with its narrow look and distinct outdoor columns became available. It was destiny that Maverick's great-great-great-grandson Kenneth and his wife would take over and open Maverick Whiskey.
Maverick Whiskey is unique because it is not only a brewery and a distillery, but it is also a restaurant right here in the heart of downtown San Antonio.
What was interesting on the day we closed is looking at the original deed and finding my great-great-great-uncle's name at the very bottom where the first transaction started. You feel a direct connection to the past, and seeing somebody's handwritten signature is something very personal.
The old bank vault room is still intact and now used to age their whiskey barrels. The building is now dedicated to remembering San Antonio's history and toasting friends with fine spirits.
This has really been a labor of love, and my wife has been incredibly supportive also about trying to maintain some of the old history of San Antonio and tell a lot of the stories of both this building, the Maverick family history.
For the 9, RJ Marquez.
Throwback Thursday, just one of the segments that we feature here on KSAT News at 9. Here's a look at some of the others that we have. Tune in tomorrow night for a look back at some of the week's biggest headlines in the week in 210. Did you know that the first ever cloned cat was created right here in Texas? Now that cat is celebrating its 18th birthday. CC, short for carbon copy or copycat, was cloned back in 2001 at Texas A&M University. CC's now owner, a researcher named Dwayne Kramer, actually helped create her. He says he is still learning from this cat.
When CC was first produced, it was thought that clones died young, and she has proved that not to be the case.
The motivation for creating CC wasn't just to make a clone, but also to research genetic engineering. Let's go to our website now to find out what is trending tonight. Ferris Sabawi is here.
Myra, it is so good to kick off 2020 trending here with you.
That's right. You got
Isn't
a
that great?
clean slate for trending.
It's a whole new year of weird headlines that we're for sure going to have as this year
progresses. We're happy to bring them
progresses.
to you right here.
Yeah, now as you know, New Year's Eve just happened a couple days ago. So much fun. I'm sure you had a great time.
Yeah, I did. I made it to midnight.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
I know.
It's a
Look at
tough
me.
task sometimes the older we get, but we're still going to, you push through. That's good to know. Myra, one of the things people have been talking about a lot and sharing on our website at KSAT.com is just videos of the fireworks that have been going off in San Antonio since then.
Okay, so I know the headline says hundreds of illegal fireworks.
Illegal fireworks,
but
allegedly.
you have to admit, the video looks really cool.
The video is so cool. It's actually one of our cameras that caught this, and really you see fireworks coming from the entire city. It really is an incredible thing to see it. There's a lot of video you could see on social media too, coming from different skylines where you can see it all around. It's really something special.
It is so cool, and that's what I was telling you when we celebrated the tricentennial a couple of years ago. KSAT had a big New Year's Eve celebration for that. So Steve Spreester and I were up on the Tower of the Americas, and you could see
from that vantage
360 degrees of
That's
illegal fireworks that were pretty cool.
It's illegal, but it's incredible. You gotta hand it to the freedom fighters out there who are doing it. Not good for our air quality, but that's okay. Those things clear up in a couple days.
Well, this video is something to check out for sure.
Oh, for sure. And a couple days ago, too, over the holidays, Myra, this is so sad, but actually a puppy was stolen from one of the adoption associations we have here, a local shelter, had an adoption event at La Cantera over last weekend, a couple days ago. It was called Puppies in the Window. It was outside Neiman Marcus, just a great little shelter. And it was actually the Spay, Neuter, Inject, Protect of San Antonio that did this. They're known as SNPSA. Or SNP-SA, maybe, something like that. Unfortunately, while these people were checking out the dogs and they had a big line, someone made off with Elf, who is one of the dogs in a litter that has been there.
Adorable little puppy.
He is an adorable little puppy. So cute, you might want to steal him, I guess.
But don't.
Yeah, don't do it. And the good news is, thankfully, the stolen dog has been returned. Today, we were able to confirm that the dog was returned, and SNPSA said no questions asked. We just wanted the dog back home.
That's good.
So this beautiful dog, still up for adoption, and you can look at these cute pictures on the website and maybe take him home for yourself.
I have no doubt he will have a home soon.
Oh, I know. Look at that face. Oh my God, it gets me every time.
Those puppy dog eyes are pretty on point.
Incredible. With January coming up, Myra, our last story here, I just wanted to give you guys a preview of all the things that were going to happen in San Antonio this month. We got some great lineups.
I have to say, I checked out this link earlier and jotted down a few that I would like to go to.
Yeah, there's no shortage of events. We actually have a pretty long list. Great to check out at KSAT.com, and almost all of them family friendly too, so always good. Some highlights though, I will bring up. Celine Dion is having a concert here pretty soon.
That's a big one.
That's a huge one, yeah. And so we have just a lot of great events going on. Of course, PAX South, a lot of great concerts happen around then. And Monster Jam, if you're into the monster truck type of thing, that'll be happening at the Alamo Dome. Pretty great, pretty great.
I gotta tell you, that's one of the ones I wrote down because my son thinks big trucks, smashing things, it's amazing.
It's a pretty easy, that's easy entertainment right there. I think anything smashing into, I'm signing up for it.
Well, you know what, maybe you can take him.
I might, I'm down. We'll have to go.
All right, Ferris, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. That's all for KSAT News at 9 tonight. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Myra Arthur. We'll see you next time. Good night.